Hey everybody, my name is Latrice Sampson Richards. I am a licensed professional counselor and a certified life purpose and relationship coach for Black women who are ready to heal from our past so we can build the future that we deserve. And you are tuned in to episode 34 of Unicorns Talk Podcast, your weekly girl talk about Black women, our healing, and manifestation. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really excited about today's show, so let's go. All right. Well, welcome, everybody. Like I said before, my name is Latrice Sampson Richards. I'm so happy to be here, y'all. 34 episodes already. I mean, it feels like I just got started. I'm not even going to lie. As you can tell, my voice is a little, sounding a little mannish right now. I'm really definitely struggling with allergies and sinus and everything else. So I know I'm a couple octaves lower than what you may be used to. But don't be afraid, girl. It's me. I promise it's me. So I got all of my healing aids here. I got some tea and some, like tissues. And I've been chewing on ginger and all kind of stuff, girl, trying to make sure that I'm able to show up for y'all today. And so please just bear with me as I get through this episode, hopefully without coughing up a lung or anything like that, okay? But welcome. I'm so glad to have y'all here today. Today's topic is unchecking your boxes. And so we're really going to be talking about the role that we play in contributing to the unrealistic expectations that others put on us and how we can overcome those obstacles, and as usual, I mean, as most of my topics that I talk about really kind of stem from myself and my own experiences. And this is definitely one of those. All right. And so this week's high five definitely goes to Bey-chella, of course. I mean, hashtag Bey-chella. All right. And the twist this week is that it's actually going to be this week's reality check as well. So I'm going to be talking all things Bey-chella today because there's just so much to discuss. I mean, I'm not going to pick it apart, but I definitely have a lot that I want to say. If you haven't already, please make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or really anywhere that you're listening to the podcast right now. I really love it when y'all let me know that you're listening and add to the conversation either on social media or by sending us an email or something like that. So make sure you do that. Share your stories on Instagram, share on your timeline, things like that. Mention me, tag me, at me, however you say it, so I can see it, and I'm definitely going to repost it and give you a shout out on next week's show. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So, how did I come to talk about this topic for this week? Okay. Unchecking your boxes. Last week I told y'all the story about, the conversation my husband and I had about Cardi B. I think I told y'all about that story, about the conversation that my husband and I had about Cardi B. When her Bodak Yellow first came out, we had this whole thing because we were in the car and the song came on and I was just like, Cardi is not all that. Not like, well, I didn't say that. I did not say that. All I said was that lyrically, she's not a traditionalist in terms of hip hop and things like that. Like, she's not what I would consider to be one of the greats in the industry or whatever. And my husband kind of took that as me saying she wasn't shit, which is really not what I was trying to say, but I can definitely see how it came off that way, And so anyway, ever since then, we've kind of had this inside joke, about my feelings about Cardi B. But I really, since then, have actually given her a listen and actually, given her a chance. And I definitely feel like I've connected with her in terms of her story and things like that. And so I just see the whole situation differently. I see her differently and I feel differently about it. And I told him that, So anyway, her new album came out last week and I finally got a chance to listen to it. And it's so good. I really, really enjoy it. And so I took a screenshot of it and I sent it to my husband, letting him know that I was listening. And I said, "Oh, babe, I really like it." And so he sent me a message back and he was like, "Really?" Now, the way that I read that was him saying, like, really, you like that kind of music? Like, I can't believe you like that kind of music. He ended up saying that that's not how he meant it, but that's definitely how I took it, you know? And so my response to him in that moment was, don't box me in, babe. Like, don't put me in those boxes and stuff like that. Like, I can like ratchet music, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I just want to do hood shit with my friends, and that's okay, you know? And that really just made me start thinking about the boxes that I've put myself in. Now, I've told y'all more than once that my relationship with my husband is definitely one of the most intimate relationships that I've ever had. Not just intimate physically, but intimate in a relationship or in a relational kind of way. My husband knows things about me and understands parts of me that I've never even attempted to explain to other people. And so I literally can say that he knows me and understands me in a way that nobody else really does. And that's because I've literally never uttered certain words, like things that I've told him and things that he knows about me, things that I've been open, honest, and upfront with him about. I've never uttered those words to another human being, you know? And so I definitely feel like my husband and I have a really close connection. And I can say that he knows me, you know, about as well as anybody in this world. And so for me, this idea of feeling like he was putting me in these boxes, it really made me kind of hold up the mirror to myself and be like, well, what is it, what is it that I've been withholding from him that would make him, you know, be shocked or surprised that I like Cardi B? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that's a part of myself that's relatively, like, I don't hide that from people or anything like that, that I like trap music sometimes, but it's not also not necessarily something that I speak of, if that makes any sense, right? And so it just really got me thinking about the boxes that we check off for ourselves. The crazy part about the whole situation with the Cardi B single with Bodak Yellow and even with the album and everything like that is that I liked the song. I liked the song from the very beginning. It was never a question of whether or not I enjoyed the song. But for some reason, there was something inside of me that felt like I wasn't supposed to like the song. You know what I'm saying? Not on like some elitist type of stuff, you know, like not on some I'm on this level and I can't be bothered with the you know the peasants or nothing, like nothing like that, like really nowhere near that. But it was more of a reflection of, you know, me, of who I am. And so, you know, like basically I felt like I was too old for it. If I felt like it wasn't, that music was not made for my age group, you know what I'm saying? When the reality is that music is for everybody. And if music resonates with you, then it resonates with you, right? But for some reason I felt like that, you know, it wasn't made for me. And so it was wrong for me to enjoy it in some way, you know? And so I came to this realization actually pretty early on in my journey. But, you know, like I said to y'all before, the journey is perpetual, right? So, yes, I'm dealing with this particular situation again in terms of uh, realizing how I box myself in. But this time it's on a much deeper level. It's kind of like peeling back the layers of an onion, which I know sounds very, very cliche, but it's the reality, right? You have different layers to this onion. And so, usually, the thing that you're dealing with, the first couple of issues that you address in the beginning of your journey are the surface issues. And as you work them out and continue to grow from them, then they move out to the side and they make room for the deeper issues to come up. So for me, this is kind of like level 2 or level 3 for me as it relates to this particular part of my journey. All right. So anyway, I used to get really angry with my family and some of my really close friends because I felt like they didn't know me. You know, everybody always, I felt like, put me on this pedestal, you know? Like I was the good girl and I never got into trouble and I was the level headed one and things like that. And so, like anytime that I did anything that was considered out of the ordinary, I felt like, everybody was just shocked and amazed and appalled. I always felt like they didn't really know me, specifically as it relates to my family. I am the youngest in my family. So I'm the baby of the family, the youngest of three. And so growing up, they always knew me as the baby. I mean, listen, I was the baby of the family. I was the baby for the grandkids, for the first set of grandkids. I was the baby all around. And so I was, treated like the youngest in the family, or treated like the baby in the family. And so, as I became an adult and as I really started to grow into my own, what I realized, or what I felt, was that my family only knew me as the baby, right? They only knew me as the baby of the family, and not as the woman that I had become. And what I think really upset me the most is that I felt like they weren't even trying to get to know me. They weren't trying to know who I was, okay? Until one day I realized that they didn't know who I was because I wasn't showing them. Like, not for real, I wasn't showing them, right? Everybody plays a role in their system, and there's lots of different systems. We have family systems, social systems, academic systems, workplace systems, like all of these different systems. And it's just natural that everybody fulfills a role within that system, right? And so we fall into that role and we take on that part, sometimes even to our own detriment. And that's what I was doing. I embodied the baby of the family. You know, like, that's who I was. That was my role. I was the baby of the family. I enjoyed being taken care of. I enjoyed being the youngest, like, it just everything that came along with that, right? But when we reach our breaking point, that's when we really start to feel boxed in and stifled. And then that's when the resentment begins to set in, which is exactly, again, what happened for me. Because when it got to a point where I felt like, them seeing me as the baby was not allowing me to grow, because not only were they treating me like the baby in the sense of coming to my aid and taking care of me and making sure I was okay, stuff like that, but they were also treating me as the baby when it came to decision making, questioning my decisions, questioning the movements that I wanted to make, and even making comments, like talking to me like I was a child and things like that. And so that's when I really started to, feel some resentment toward them, right? Because we resent the people in our system when we feel like they are boxing us in, or if we feel like they're holding us hostage. But the reality is that we accepted that assignment. And we made the decision to fulfill that role and to maintain it for as long as we've maintained it, right? So while you may not have created the boxes, you have chosen to allow yourself to stay in those boxes even when they no longer fit. All right. So, what are some of the boxes? Well, I talked earlier about, age is a box, right? I can't do this because I'm too old. Girl, I'm too old for that. Girl. I am too old for that. Now, I'm not talking about petty, because I do think at a certain point in life you are too old for petty. Okay, somebody, hello. All right. But I mean, too old to experience things. I really want to go back to school, but girl, I'm too old for that. You know? Or maybe a younger guy is interested in me, but girl, I am too old for that. You get what I'm saying? Or too young, right? Too old or too young. Maybe I feel like I don't have enough experience. That age box is a really big box for a lot of us. We box ourselves in terms of gender, education level, okay, weight and size and shape, right? I can't wear that, girl, I can't wear that bright color. I was just having this conversation with somebody earlier today that, people are always like, I like to dress. I'm not like a fashionista or anything like that. Like, not I don't think I'm a fashionista or anything like that, but I do enjoy looking nice and I like being pretty and looking pretty, right? And so I like to wear bright colors and things like that. And people are always like, girl, I don't see how you wear those colors. I would be so nervous. I can't wear my arms out like that. Oh no, I can't do that. My arms too big, my legs too big, right? We box ourselves in. We don't have to do that. We can box ourselves in based on race or culture or socioeconomic status. We box ourselves in based on ability, our looks, right? Dark skin, colorism, dark skin, light skin, good hair, bad hair, dreads, natural, weave, perm, right? We box ourselves in based on affiliations, the people or the organizations that we're connected to, respectability politics, right? We box ourselves in based on our career, based on our status. So there's all of these different boxes. I mean, the list can go on and on and on. There's all of these different boxes that we check off for ourselves. And sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing it. But we box ourselves in based on these categories. And it's like, we think that because we belong to a particular group of people, because we belong to a particular category of people, that we're not supposed to, we shouldn't, we ought not. All right? And it's just not true. It's just holding us back. All right. Now, there's a lot of reasons why we do this. But the primary reason is that we are benefiting from it in some way. Like I said earlier, I enjoyed being the baby of the family. Listen, I am a Leo. Okay. And, as a Leo, I do enjoy attention. I am not ashamed to say that. I enjoy attention and I enjoy being cared for. Right. And so my family, because I was the baby of the family, that's what they did. They took care of me. I told y'all last week, my brother and my sister, they drop whatever they got going on right now in this moment to come see about me and take care of me and whatever it is that I need to get done. My daddy, I'm such a daddy's girl, which is crazy because me and my daddy used to argue like it was nobody's business. But if I needed something, my daddy was going to take care of it. So I was the baby of the family, and it fed my need for attention. It fed my need to be taken care of. Look, my family didn't even know I could cook until about 5 or 6 years ago. For real. Because I never had to. There was never a reason for me to cook when I was around my family. Because either my daddy gonna cook or my mama gonna cook or my sister is gonna cook or my sister-in-law is gonna cook. There was never a reason for me to cook when I was around my family. But my friends knew I could burn. Because when I was on my own, away from my family, I had to take care of myself. And so even though I wasn't aware of it for a very long time, fulfilling the role of baby of the family, it really fed my need to be taken care of. And there's a lot of reasons why, people allow themselves to remain in these boxes way longer than they should. For some of us, it's not having to worry about money or living expenses. Again, being taken care of, but just in a different manner, right? Being kept in some ways, being able to live a life of luxury or like a particular lifestyle. Right? For some of us, what we're benefiting from it is avoiding confrontation. I'm just going to stay in this box. It don't really fit, but I'm just going to be this person because I know that's what they want me to be. And I just don't want to fuss. I don't want to cause no problems, right? Avoiding responsibility, not having to take responsibility for your life, for who you are, for where you're going, right? Avoiding truly intimate connections with another human being because maybe I'm afraid of those connections. Maybe I've never had positive interactions or connections with another human before. And so even though I know that it's something I really want, I'm going to keep myself in this little box because if I know that if I belong to this particular group, if I say that I'm in this box and I present myself as a member of this box, then I don't have to worry about making connections with other people, right? And for some of us, it allows us to not be alone or to not feel lonely. Sometimes, we talked about this last week. Sometimes we allow ourselves to stay in situations or boxes just so that we don't have to be by ourselves. So we don't have to be alone. And so even though that box doesn't really fit who we are, even though that box doesn't really say anything about the reality of who we are, we stay there because at least I don't have to be alone. At least I don't have to be by myself and feel lonely. All right. There's always a reason why you allow yourself to continue to participate in that system, in that role, and keep yourself in that box. But doing so boxes you in, and it never allows the people that are around you sharing that system with you to genuinely know and understand who you are. And therefore, they can never really accept you as is, which for some people, honestly, is a benefit in and of itself. Avoiding vulnerability, avoiding being seen. For some of us, keeping ourselves in those boxes that don't fit, it's worth it to us. Just to not have to be vulnerable and show who I am in reality. All right? But we cannot expect other people to love us and to accept us unconditionally as is if we're not willing to show them anything outside of the boxes that we think they want, or anything outside of the boxes that get us what we want, right? Because they don't know who or what they're actually accepting. It's kind of like the bait and switch, right? Like you just give them what you think they want and then let them get in deep, and then you change them up and show them all you crazy. No, girl, you got to show that crazy from the front. All right. You got to show that crazy from the very, very beginning because it's not fair. It's not fair to them, and it's definitely not fair to you. It's not fair to you because you get your hopes up based on a fallacy. Because every relationship you feel like is going to be a significant relationship for you, or you hope that it is if you're going to be 100% honest with yourself. You're hoping somewhere deep down inside that this relationship is the one, or that this friendship turns out to be long lasting. Lord, I sure hope I could trust this person. I sure hope this turns out to be somebody that's worth my time. Right? Because we need each other. We need people. There's nothing wrong with that. But your hope is based on a fallacy when you refuse to show them who you are in reality. And so they're not able to make an informed decision about allowing you to be a part of their life or about the role that you will actually play in their system, right? But more importantly, it's not fair to them because they never have a chance to show up for you. It's not fair to either of you because they never have a chance to really show up for you in the ways that you need them to in a relationship, because you refuse to show them who you truly are or to tell them what you actually need. But all the while, you're still holding them to that standard of unconditional love, unconditional positive regard. All right? They will never be able to meet that standard because they are missing some very important information, which means that you will never really get what you need. And so it kind of becomes like this vicious cycle over and over and over of seeking relationship, connection, love, acceptance, and then disappointment. Receiving disappointment on the other side of that. And it just goes over and over, on and on and on, until you grow cold toward the idea of needing deeply intimate connections in your life. And that's when you become the bitter bitch. All right. And let's be real. We all know a bitter bitch, but we never think that we could end up becoming her. Well, guess what? Neither did she. She didn't plan to become a bitter bitch. It just kind of happened to her. After years and years of letdowns and disappointments, she shut down. And she tried to convince herself that she didn't need anybody. And so she became the bitter bitch. All right? So do yourself a favor and don't become the bitter bitch. All right. So how do you not become the bitter bitch in your life? Well, I'm going to tell you. Okay. I think one of the first things that you need to do that's really, really important is to stop shaming yourself into those boxes to begin with. Right. Who you are is enough. Give yourself permission to be who you are and to put that on display unapologetically. Don't shame yourself into those boxes that you have to be a certain kind of way, that who you are doesn't fit the mold or is not going to be able to get you to where you're trying to go. All right? Allow yourself to be seen to the degree to which is necessary for the relationship. I'm not saying you got to walk around being all things to all people. I'm not saying that you got to walk around with your whole heart on your sleeve and just letting any and everybody into your space, your domain, your spirit. That's not what I'm advocating for at all. But show yourself and use discernment to decipher who gets how much. Who deserves what levels of you. Okay? Because there is levels to this. All right, we talk about this in module 2 of the Empower Your Vision Masterclass, people categorization. Figure out the true role that you play within the system and then reestablish those boundaries to support this new role. So that means that you're going to need to look at the core people and the PRN people. You know, you need to assess the people that exist in your life. And you need to figure out who needs to know what, based on the roles that you play in their lives and they play in your life. All right? Now, keep in mind that it might take them, when you first start making these changes and things like that, like showing yourself and like showing them who you really are, unchecking those boxes, it might take those people a little while to get on board with your changes, because just because you decided to make some changes don't mean I got to believe you right from the jump. All right? I'm used to dealing with you a certain kind of way. I'm used to interacting with you a certain type of way, right? That's how I've grown accustomed to doing this. Okay, so you have to give those people a little bit of time to make those changes, but be consistent and be patient. The only exception to that is if it is an all or nothing boundary, right? So some boundaries we have and we're like, okay, you know, I can give y'all some time to work on this. I know that it might be a little difficult, but there's a little bit of wiggle room on this. But, you know, I still want you to respect my boundaries, but I can give you some time to come around to it. But then there's some boundaries that this needs to stop immediately. You can't never do this again. This right here, never again. This is an all or nothing boundary. Either you're going to get it together or you're going to get the hell on. Okay? In that case, you need to enforce that boundary as well. All right? And be prepared to have to reinforce your boundaries a few times. Okay? You might have to reinforce your boundaries 1 or 2 times. And how do you know when enough is enough? You trust your intuition. You trust your gut. When you feel like somebody is not respecting your boundaries and that they're not going to respect your boundaries, then you need to be willing to enforce whatever consequence you feel like is appropriate for that situation, whether that means, you know, moving them to another category or cutting them out of your life altogether or checking them hard. You know what I'm saying? Getting them all together gathered. All right? Whatever you feel like that consequence needs to be, backing away from them a little bit, pulling away a little bit. Whatever it is you feel like you need to do, you need to follow through though. Don't say it if you're not going to do it. Point blank, period. Everybody may not get on board, and that's okay. They have the right to choose to no longer be a part of your life now that you've decided that you want to show who you are. Don't take it personal. That is their choice. They made that decision based on what they need. Just like you made the decision to uncheck your boxes based on what you need in your life. And at the end of the day, you need to know who can truly accept you and who cannot. You need to know who are the people that's really ride or die, or the people that really accept you as is, and the people who cannot. You need to know that. All right? So do not apologize for who you are, and don't apologize for needing what you need. The only person that's responsible for your happiness is you. All right? But at the same time, don't use this as an excuse to not evolve. All right? Standing in your truth and saying, this is who I am, with all its mess, with all of its kinks, with all of its hiccups. This is me. This is what I bring to the table, good, bad, and ugly. That does not give you a free pass to be unapologetically dysfunctional and chaotic for the rest of your life. All right? The first step is acknowledgement and acceptance. That's what this is. That's what this is all about. But you still have to take action. It is not enough to just acknowledge. You have to take action in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So yes, be unapologetic, stand in your truth, own the reality of who you are, but also push yourself to the next level. Want more. But want more because that's what you want, not because that's what you think the world around you wants you to be or to have. All right? So this week, I realized that I still have some work to do in this area. And I've made the decision to be intentional about showing myself more deeply in both my personal and my professional life. And so I genuinely believe in the power of authenticity in my own journey, but I honestly did not realize that there was still some hidden pockets that I had yet to address. Okay. And so your homework for this week is going to be to consider the parts of yourself that rarely, if ever, get expressed, but that if they were known to the people that need to know them, then it would have a positive impact on that relationship or on that person, right? So things that you don't really show, you don't really put on display, but that are central to understanding who you are and what you need. All right. And then express those things to someone who would benefit from knowing these things about you, or this particular thing about you. So I'm not saying get on your Instagram and tell the whole world. You can if you want to. All right. But, one particular relationship that could benefit from understanding this component of you, or this aspect of who you are. This could be a business partner, a romantic partner, a friend, a family member, or it could even be a client. All right. Not just some rando on the street, but somebody whose relationship with you could be positively impacted by letting them in on this particular aspect of your personality. And after you're done, of course, you want to document that experience either by journaling for yourself or by recording a personal voice note or something like that, so that you can process your thoughts and process your feelings about that experience. Was it good? Was it bad? Like how did you feel about it? Did it go better than you thought it would? All right. Do you feel like it made the relationship stronger? How did you feel about it? All right. And of course, I would love to know how it went for you. So feel free, if you do post it, to go ahead and tag me in that post, or send me, you can slide up in my DMs or something like that. Let me know how it goes. Or you can email me at unicornstalkpod@latricesampsonrichards.com and let me know how it goes. All right. Okay. All right. So coming up next is High Five. Okay, so y'all know this weekend was Coachella, And on this Saturday, April 15th, Beyonce Knowles Carter became the first black woman to headline Coachella in its 19-year history. Now, this show was super black. It was super excellent. It was full of symbolism related to the black college experience, specifically the HBCU black college experience. And, like I've never necessarily been like a card carrying member of the Beehive, but I do enjoy me some Beyonce. I'm not even going to lie. Okay. I enjoy me some Beyonce. I don't stand as hard as some folks, but I was excited to see her performing at Coachella, and I made sure that I caught it. I didn't catch it live, but I did catch the replays. Okay. And I loved everything about this performance. She even told us what to call it. She said it's not even Coachella no more. It's Bey-chella or Bey-chella, right? Is it B? It's B, right? Lord, the hive gonna get me, Lord Jesus. Don't get me, hive. I'm allergic, okay? But I was very proud of Beyonce. Her performance was extra, extra, extra blackety black, black, black. And I really enjoyed that. I loved the Greek references. I loved just everything about it was awesome and amazing. Who doesn't love a good band performance and things like that? And so, and then afterwards, after she did the performance, I think the next day she announced that she's actually going to be launching a new scholarship for HBCUs, for 4 HBCUs. And I know that Xavier University, which is my sister's alma mater, is one of the recipients of that. And so I think it's like $100,000 altogether that she's going to be giving away in terms of college scholarships and things like that. And so, high five to Beyonce Knowles Carter, because I really like the direction that she's going in. I love that, she's proving that you don't have to, give up who you are in order to make it. And I really, really love that about Beyonce. And I'm proud of her and I'm excited for her. She's still growing. Now, some people comparing her, like saying that she's the greatest performer of all time, like she better than MJ. And I'm like, hold up, y'all. Now let's slow down. All right. Let's not move too fast, okay? I enjoyed the Coachella performance. I think we still a little high off the Coachella performance or whatever, but let's come on back down. Let's come on back down because Mike is, otherworldly. And while Beyonce has definitely proven herself to be a formidable force, I don't know if I'm quite ready to say that she has taken over that post. Okay, our memories are just so short these days, I think, is what it really is. All right, but high five to Beyonce for all of the black excellence that she displayed at Bey-chella this weekend. And, I'm just looking forward to seeing more from her. I was going to try to go to that concert, but y'all, the way my bank account is set up, I just ain't got it like that right now. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely want to see her perform before it's all said and done. But I'm just not a big enough fan to be willing to spend that much money, I think is what it really is. Now, this Lauryn Hill concert that's coming up, girl, I don't know, girl. I might have to see about that one. All right. But high five to Beyonce. Good job. I loved every minute, every second, every morsel of it. You did an awesome and amazing job. And then Bey-chella also is our reality check for today. So there's two things about this that I really wanted to talk about, okay? And the first one is slightly petty, but it's not really petty. It's just gonna feel petty. I think to people who just refuse to understand where I'm coming from with it. But I just feel like I need to say this because, with Beyonce modeling her performance after the Black college experience, I feel like, it kind of renewed the debate about, going to HBCUs as a Black person, going to an HBCU versus going to a PWI or a predominantly white institution. And so, reality check, you don't have to go to a HBCU to have a Black college experience. Yes, I said it. Okay. You don't have to go to a HBCU in order to have a black college experience. Now, I understand and I have a very deep appreciation and respect for HBCUs, which are historically black colleges and universities. Okay. More often than not, back in the day, the HBCUs were present because we couldn't go nowhere else. And I understand that. And I know that they serve a very, very important role in our community. And I would never say anything to diminish that. However, I feel like that respect is not returned for those of us who chose not to attend an HBCU. And so we seem to be looked down upon in terms of our blackness when other people find out that we attended a PWI. And it's time for that to come to an end. I'm over it. I'm tired of having a conversation. I don't want to debate with you. I'm not going back and forth with you about why I didn't have no good college experience and this, that, and the third. Okay. I went to a PWI. I graduated from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. Okay. Go Cajuns. All right. And we had a large population of black students at the school. And so we had quite an experience. The only thing that we really didn't have was the band and the dance team. But there's so much more that goes into creating the black college experience. All right. The black college experience is not just about being surrounded by nothing but black people. It's about community. It's about shared experiences. It's about growing into adulthood and finding yourself with people who understand your struggles, people who are going through or have been through the same struggles that you are or that you have. It's about indulging in and enriching in the culture by putting your own stamp on it and leaving your mark. None of these things happen exclusively at an HBCU. All right. So the conversation about PWI versus HBCU, it's time for that to be over. I'm over it. I'm tired of having it. I don't feel like I need to explain myself to you why I chose to go to a PWI. I don't owe you an explanation for that. And for damn sure, what you're not going to do is question my blackness or question my commitment to the culture because I went to a PWI. Don't box me in, okay? Because you don't know my story. Hello, somebody. Hey, Dennis. You don't know my story, all right? You don't know where I've been through. You don't know where I come from. Don't do me that. All right. So that's my reality check on that piece. And the other piece, the reality check, I kind of touched on earlier is that, you don't have to abandon the culture in order to quote unquote make it big. And you don't have to conform to stay on top. The last couple of projects that Beyonce has put out have been ridiculously black, and it really, to be honest, they are the projects that have really sort of kind of turn the tide for me to make me really kind of look at Beyonce differently. And I appreciate that she's put herself in a position to be able to be unapologetic and that she does it no matter what the backlash is, because I really believe that at the end of the day, talent speaks for itself. Okay? Talent speaks for itself. They cannot deny what you bring to the table. And so I know that there's a lot of us out there who feel pressure to conform. And I'm here to tell you that you don't need to cave into that pressure. You just need to be who you are. You need to shine as brightly as you do. All right? Because they can't stop you. They can make it difficult, but they can't stop you. All right? What is for you is for you. And what you bring to the table can nobody else bring to the table. So walk in there with your head held high and be confident and be strong about what you bring to the table. You don't need to abandon who you are or conform to whatever it is they want you to be. Do you, all right? And it's enough. It's enough. Okay. So that's it for reality check for today. I do have a few shout outs. So my first shout out goes to one of my homies that I grew up with. His name is Derek, aka Big Booty Derek. Hey Derek. Hey Derek. I also want to give a shout out to Keena at the rare. So it's either Rare Stone 174 or Rarest 174 on Twitter. She is a new listener, so she reached out to me on Twitter this weekend and let me know that she would be tuning in. So hey Keena, thank you for tuning in. Definitely want to give a shout out to Black Married Fly podcast. Hey Treb, hey Candace. How y'all doing? I miss y'all. I can't wait to come home so I can stop by and come see y'all and things. You know how that goes. Also, I want to give a shout out to Black Law and Legal Lies podcast. Hey, you guys, they've been showing me lots of love. And I did start listening to y'all's show while I was at work. I wasn't able to finish it, but that's on my list of shit to do this weekend. But shout out to Black Law and Legal Lies podcast, Talking Greasy podcast, always showing love. I recently added another podcast to my rotation, Not Your Mama's podcast over there. Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Lauren. Over in New York. It's a really good podcast. Now, be careful when you look it up because it took me a couple times to find them. I'm not even going to lie because there's another podcast called Not Your Mama's Podcast, but that definitely is not Stephanie and Lauren. Okay. So their podcast can primarily be found on SoundCloud. So make sure y'all check them out. And also to Unapologetic Podcast. Hey, Jaden. I know that tax season has come to an end. And Jaden, I just love me some Jaden, y'all. He's awesome and amazing. So make sure y'all check out Unapologetic Podcast as well. What we have in terms of announcements, well, the Empower Your Vision Masterclass, of course, you can get your spot for that. It's going really, really well. Like I said last week, registration is completely free. So there is no reason for you to not come and get this information. Do yourself a favor and make it happen. Definitely join us on Facebook at inside of the Trust Village Facebook group, which is going really well as well. Hey ladies, all my villagers out there, I know y'all listening. Hey ladies, how y'all doing? And I'm actually working on my first tour. It's going to be a super small, super short tour, but I'm definitely excited about it. So I'm trying to figure out, I want to do maybe 3 or 4 cities, okay, like a really small one, 3 or 4 cities, maybe 20 tickets, 20 spots per city. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure that y'all follow on all of the socials at Unicorns Talk Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Online at latricesampsonrichards.com/Unicorns Talk Pod. You can listen on the web or you can find out everywhere that the show is available. Okay. Or you can follow me directly on Facebook and Instagram at Latrice Sampson Richards or on Twitter at LSamRichards. And that's it for today, y'all. That's the show. That's it. I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. And until next time, be well. Bye, y'all.